Time for our cup of joe. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is often thought of a lesson on what happens when not enough thought is given to the consequences of science. A 1951 movie starring Alec Guinness as a chemist, The Man in the White Suit, has a very similar theme. Now, this was in the 1950s when a lot of attention was being paid to nylon and other synthetic fibers. And this chemist thinks that he has a way of developing a novel fiber that is stain resistant and will basically last forever. And in a clandestine laboratory, he comes up with such a material and ends up making a white suit out of this. This, of course, is science fiction. But in the real world, chemists, of course, are also interested in coming up with stain-free materials. And they have taken a look at the peach. As you know, the peach is covered with fuzz, and there's a reason for that. Water is very conducive to the growth of mold, and peaches are very sensitive to mold. Well, it turns out that these little whiskers on the surface of the peach keep water droplets from being in contact with the surface of the peach, and that reduces the chance of mold. Well, chemists now have looked at this, and they have come up with a material called Nanotex. And this can impart microscopic fibers, again, little whiskers, just like the peach, made of synthetic material, onto the surface of fabrics. And this keeps water from contacting the surface. And as the water droplets roll off, they take the dirt with it. Interesting new material. Now, in the movie, the chemist runs into a problem. Why? Because it turns out that manufacturers are not really interested in developing fabrics that last forever. And laborers, of course, are also worried about losing their jobs. So the chemist ends up actually running away from the manufacturer and from laborers who pursue him, because it is basically a comedic movie. In real life, there's also some opposition to nanotechnology. And there are people who believe that nanotech is somehow a problem because it can contaminate the environment with nanoparticles. It turns out that there's absolutely no evidence for this. The little fibers stick to the fabric extremely well. They do not come off. So although, of course, there's always some concern about novel technologies and unexpected consequences, I think in the case of Nanotex, nothing has appeared. So next time you look at a stain-free fabric, just think of how chemists looked at a peach and came up with a very, very interesting idea. And of course, I think I've perhaps tickled your fancy, and you can take a look on the web, see if you can track down a copy of The Man in the White Suit, because it is one of the few times that a chemist plays a central role in a film. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.